If you don't have customers, you don't have a business. We hit $1 million ARR in 11 months, and we're about to hit $2 million ARR in 3 months. The number one thing that you should be doing if you are starting a business in 2025, 2026, and so on. I am here to tell you that there is nothing natural in finding customers. Welcome to Just Grow With It. I've always been a little impulsive. I get an idea and just go with it. But that's the thing about life and business. You're always growing, learning, and figuring it out as you go. Welcome to Just Grow With It, the podcast where I share lessons I've learned as a founder and creator, the mistakes, the pivots, and the wins, and how staying consistent can change everything. So if you're ready to grow with me, let's get into it. Too many people think that the hardest part of entrepreneurship is just starting the business and launching a product. And I am here to tell you that the hardest part of starting a business is finding customers, especially in the beginning. And you might think, well, the product is so good or the idea is genius that people are just going to naturally flock to it. I am here to tell you that there is nothing natural in finding customers. And if you don't have customers, then unfortunately, you do not have a business. And this isn't about finding just any customer. You have to find the right customers that are going to stick with your business. So let's talk about how to find them. When you first think about finding the right customers, we need to look at the technology adoption lifecycle. I did not coin this. I believe this is from the book Crossing the Chasm. But I think it's a really great way to look at the life cycle of your customers or who those customers are going to be. And as I'm going over these different types of customers, I want you to let me know in the comments, what type of customer are you with new products typically? When you are first starting your business, you just launched, you're new to the game, you're looking for your first customers. These people are going to be your early adopters or your innovators. They're the first to try a new product. They're excited and ready to test a new product. And they're motivated by curiosity, risk-taking, entrepreneurship in general. They probably want to feel like they are a part of your community or a part of your business. These people are going to be the ones that are signing up for your beta groups, they're signing up for your emails, they're commenting on your social media, and they just want to learn what you guys are doing, and they're excited to be a part of it. I would say since I started a business, I fall more into the early adopter / the next category that I'm about to say, but I've definitely been way more interested in finding startups and early day products and testing them out and being a part of that community. And as someone who has been an early adopter to a couple products, I feel like I have a lot more patience, a lot more grace, because I know that it's the business's first early days and I'm just excited to be here. That's typically the mindset of an early adopter or an innovator. Next, you have the early majority. I would say the early majority is where we are right now with Rella. These people are a bit more practical than your early adopters, so they're still willing to try something new, but they would like to have had other people test it out first, and they might come from like a word of mouth of a friend that was an early adopter. They're gonna want some case studies, some more validation before jumping in and trying a new product. An early majority is usually the tipping point from when you go from niche to mainstream. Then you have the next group, which is the late majority. These are people that are definitely risk averse and they're a bit more skeptical. They'll only adopt a product once it's well established. I feel like we've seen this with Notion, where Notion had a huge early community where people were obsessed with Notion. Those were like the early adopters / early majority. People were making content on Notion. They were selling templates on Notion. And now I feel like so many businesses use Notion. And I definitely think those businesses are more of this late majority that we're talking about. And for the late majority, what matters a lot is cost, convenience, and reliability. More than just the idea itself. They need to make sure it works. So they need to have had thousands of other people vet it before they even jump in. And then the last group, which you see with a bunch of well-established companies, is the laggards. These are the people that are very late to adopt, or sometimes they never adopt. I feel like we'll be seeing that with a lot of AI companies where there's just going to be an older generation that either refuses to adopt it or adopts it way later. They're motivated by social pressure or just by need. So I do see that with AI. I think eventually you will need to use AI. So a lot of people that might not be using it now will be forced into using it in the future. If you're starting a business or you're in the startup phase, I don't think you're listening to this podcast, so you shouldn't focus on this group of people. I think it's important to distinguish these customers because I see so many founders, including myself, that want to start with the early or late majority. Because when you think of companies that you admire, I mentioned Notion, you automatically say, I want to be like Notion, so I need to adopt their customers, and their customers right now are in that late majority. But the thing is, you are a little baby startup. You shouldn't be chasing their exact customers. You need to be chasing the people that were early adopters for them, not necessarily the masses. But as I've mentioned in previous episodes, narrowing your focus down is so critical, and I feel so strongly about this. I think this is a do or die. I think that if you have too big of a scope or too big of an audience or a niche, it is incredibly difficult to survive as a business. And you guys, I say this from experience. We were a company that we wanted to attract anyone and everyone on social media. We had even said that before. We had even said we're for anyone that's on social media. And it's like, isn't that the whole world at this point? We are not for anyone that's on social media. We're not for your grandma that has a Facebook page. But in our minds, we just thought that the bigger the pool was, the more people would come. But it spreads you too thin. It completely distorts your marketing. And typically you don't have the resources to actually be the right fit for all of these different types of audiences. So you just end up drowning. So focus your effort, especially in the beginning, on those innovators, those early majority that will be with you. They will stay in your community. They're going to give you feedback, and they're also going to have patience for you as you work out all of the kinks of your business. Because in the beginning, there will be a lot of kinks. I am so grateful to the people that use Rella to this day that constantly give us feedback. For every person that gives you feedback, I always think there's a million people behind them that just never decided to give us that feedback, but they're feeling the exact same way. So those innovators, that early majority, they're going to be the ones that are vocal and that are actually wanting the product to get better and not giving up on you the second that there's like one inconvenience or one bug. Before we continue with this episode, I did want to thank Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Squarespace is the easiest way to build a website, and they actually make it really easy to find customers. They have advanced analytics so that you can actually see where customers are coming from. You can build your email list and send out email campaigns on Squarespace. You can build out a wait list. They have SEO so that you can make sure that you show up on search engines. They have amazing 24-hour customer support, and they make it incredibly easy to do it because they have the most beautiful templates. Your website is just going to look so good and so professional. When your customers go onto your website, they're going to sign up right away. And they are the only site that I trust for Rella. If you want to see a Squarespace website in action, just go to getrella.com because we trust them for the front page of our website where we are sending all of our customers to. If you guys want 10% off of your domain or your first order on Squarespace, you can use my code NatalieBarbu or go to squarespace.com/NatalieBarbu at checkout. Thank you, Squarespace, for sponsoring today's video. So now that you can identify these groups of people that you need to target, it is time to figure out, how do I find them? Step 1, you're going to look into your inner circle. If you are trying to solve a problem, and if you've started a business, I'm assuming that you are solving a problem, chances are other people around you have felt that exact problem. At least I hope so if you're starting this business. The first people that you need to look to convert that will be a great fit for those early adopters / innovators is the people in your inner circle that you know personally. This is why I always say you need to talk to everyone and anyone about your business, but especially the people in your life, because if someone in your life is resonating with this problem that you're solving, they will tell you. And that is the perfect way to get them involved to test the product and support your business. I've heard a lot of people say if your friends and family aren't supporting your business, then who will? And I do not agree with that. I don't think that everyone has people in their life that are going to be willing to either support financially or maybe as interested in solving that problem, because your inner circle doesn't automatically mean they're early adopters or innovators. They still have to fit that criteria that we went over. And some of your friends and family might just not be early adopters. They might be people that they are not going to join something until all the kinks are worked out. So they might give you feedback, but they might not sign up for the app that you're building. And I think that that's fine. I do not think that if your friends and family don't support you, then you don't have a good business. But I think that you have to start there, because if you do have a group of people in your life that are those early adopters and are facing the same problem that you have, then that is by far going to be the easiest people to convert. Step 2 is to talk about the problem with other people. So this is outside of your inner circle. This could be the internet. This could be with friends of friends. This could be with anyone that you can be stopping, talking to someone in the line at a restaurant and you're telling them about your business idea. I've said this before in previous episodes, but people are not going to steal your idea. that you're just like talking to randomly about something that you're already working on. You're already 5 steps ahead of them, 10 steps ahead of them the second that you're like speaking about this idea. And most people do not drop everything being like, oh, I'm gonna take that idea. And if someone can take your idea that easily, then you just need to out execute, because business is not all about the idea, it's all about the execution. So that's why I always say, like, don't worry about someone taking your idea. It's way more important to talk about your business and to share your idea with people so you can get feedback, potential customers, investors, you name it. So this is not an exception with finding customers. You need to tell people outside of your inner circle about what you're building. If you want to hear more about an expert talk about why you shouldn't worry about someone stealing your idea, you need to listen to the Built founder on social currency. He talks at length about why execution matters so much more than the idea itself. You need to listen to that if you don't believe me about no one stealing your idea. I also heard this quote: the real cost isn't someone stealing your idea, it's the energy wasted trying to protect it. And with that being said, I think you need to start talking about it with the internet. Obviously, I'm someone on the internet, I'm an influencer. Rella is all about social media, but I think that sharing your story online is the number one thing that you should be doing if you are starting a business in 2025, 2026, and so on. And if you don't like the advice that you need to be on social media to promote your business, then I'm just going to let you know right now, you probably won't like this podcast, because I will be sharing that. I've probably said that in every episode in some form, but I will continue to be saying that because I really, really feel passionately about it. I think the most powerful business tool that you have today is on your phone, and it is social media. Not only for marketing purposes, which of course you need to be on it just to market your business, but also the potential to go viral. We are living in a very unique time where you do not have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for millions of people to see your ad. There are paid ads where you can pay for that still, but in the past, you would have to pay a magazine, a billboard, a cable company to run your ad in order for people to see it. Now, you can post a TikTok for free, costs $0, and it can go viral and it can get tens of millions of views. We have never had that potential in history. And if you are not on social media, you are wasting that free tool that you have just in the palm of your hand. So start talking about the problem on the internet. Film behind the scenes content for your company. Talk as the founder. Just say like, hey, I'm the founder of this company. This is what I'm doing. Some people that I think have done such a good job at this is Honeyvale Matcha. They're a local matcha company here in Miami. They're 2 sisters that started just a food truck, or I think at like a farmer's market, selling matcha. They have gone so viral. They have hundreds of people waiting in line wherever they are. Millions of impressions on social media. And it's because they started documenting the journey of starting this matcha company. Another company that I've been seeing is this company called Nude Miami. They're opening the healthiest grocery store in America in Miami, and they haven't even launched yet. But I have been seeing them all over my TikTok because the founder comes on holding his camera like it's a FaceTime and saying, I'm building the healthiest grocery store in America. And he's documenting the process of building this. I've seen Hot Girls Pickles do this. I've seen this olive company do this. I have seen so many companies do this exact thing and have gone viral across the world just because they posted on TikTok and they did not have to run paid ads in order to do it. And if you didn't know, the only reason why Rella is alive today is because of a viral video. I mentioned this in the first episode when I talked about my entrepreneurship story, but we had told our investors and Natasha, who works with us, that we were shutting down the company because we just were not growing the rate that we needed to be growing. We had this conversation on a Thursday/Friday. It was 2 days worth of conversations with our investors and the team. By Monday, we had a viral video that 7x'd our revenue that following month. And since then, we have been growing month over month, an insane rate. We became profitable in just a few months after that. We hit $1 million ARR in 11 months, and we are about to hit 2 million ARR in 3 months, potentially less. If that does not show you the power of social media with finding the right customers, I don't know what does. The algorithms are incredibly powerful. Even if you post something organically, it will get sent to the right audience. I will be talking all about social media in another episode, giving ideas of what to post and how to film founder content as well. But really the gist is start talking about what you're building and what problem you're solving online, and it will attract the right people. I also think that always talking about a problem, it's a really great way to make sure that you have a problem and a big enough problem to create a business out of. Step 3 is going to be a little bit of a cold email, cold call situation, but it's to reach out to people that you know would benefit from your business. Not someone that you know personally, it's you think. It's the person that you have in your head when you're building this, like this is who really benefit from this. At Rella, it's social media managers and teams, but for you, pick who that person is and look for them online, look for them on LinkedIn or, wherever else they might be, and find the right people that you know would benefit from your business. I would do cold outreach via DMs and email. I personally have never cold called someone because I don't know how that still works today. I have been very successful at a cold email and a cold DM. And by very successful, I mean the open rate is like 10 or 20%. If you are reaching out to a ton of people, 10 or 20% is actually a really good number. You can offer incentives like discounts or free product in exchange for feedback, and tell a compelling story when you're reaching out to them. So explain who you are, what problem you're solving, and why you thought of them. You can also reach out to any influencers that are in the space. So maybe influencers within the niche that you're targeting and offering them free product in exchange for, them posting about it. Step 4 is to have a referral system already in place. As you start getting customers, the early adopters are going to be the ones that are your ride or dies. They will be giving you feedback. They're going to be the ones that are telling all of their friends about you. So make sure you have a referral system that incentivizes them to talk about you, because nothing convinces people to use a product more than word of mouth. I was listening to the founders of Array on Hot Smart Rich, and what they were saying is that they treat their customers as influencers because they are influencers. Your customers are your best influencers. We try to do this at Rella where we've ran influencer campaigns, and we've actually, our very first influencer campaign that we did, we ran it with a bunch of randoms that were like, could potentially do well with this niche. So we looked up like social media manager on Instagram. We saw content that performed well. We reached out to those people because they fit our niche, and we asked them if they could do an influencer campaign for us. And while that campaign was mildly successful, I'd say it was more of like a underperforming campaign, we did a second campaign with our customers. So we looked through our customers, people that have already tagged us, people that have already posted about us, and we actually were paying them to continue to make like dedicated content for us in exchange for free product and for payment. And that the campaign with the people that already used us, despite having less followers, was so much more successful that since then, we only work with people that already use Rella. We never find people that are not already using Rella or talking about us because it doesn't do well. Your customers are your influencers. If your sister, if your mom, if your friend posted something on their story recommending something, you are going to listen to them more than if Kylie Jenner posted something that is so obviously sponsored. I actually think that you should be treating those first customers as influencers and setting up a referral program to incentivize them to post about you, whether it's giving them money. At Rella, we give anyone that brings a customer to us using their referral code, using their referral $10, which adds up over time. I mean, we've had people making hundreds of dollars because of the people that they bring, because word of mouth is so powerful. So make sure that you have a referral program set up. We currently at Rella use Rewardful if we want to get very technical with what we're using, which integrates really nicely with Stripe. And if you don't have a software company and you're like, well, I can't have a referral program because I don't have an app or anything like that, you are wrong. You can still have a referral program. If you have a brick and mortar store, if you bring a friend, you both get a discount. You can have a referral program at a restaurant saying if you buy a $50 gift card, we'll give you a $50 gift card back. Whatever it is, there's so many different ways to incentivize people to talk about your company or your product in the beginning days when you need that validation so you can move on to that next step of the early majority and the late majority. You should incentivize your early adopters to bring as many people, give you positive reviews, and expand your network that way. And we did all of those steps at Rella. So this video is like a combination of what worked for us. I have been building in public since the very original idea of Rella, which has changed so much since we first launched. I always talked about my frustrations in the industry and posted about it, which brought a new audience feeling those same frustrations and pain points. Have you ever been annoyed as a social media manager with your social media client? We have tons of videos kind of like making fun of that dynamic where people don't even feel like they're watching an ad. They just enjoy the content and then they're like, wait, what is this app that she's using in the video? Because I am making sure that we resonate with the pain point that our audience is facing. We've had wait lists, we've gotten people to pre-order, we've asked our community to be in focus groups or be beta testers for us, and we were able to launch with a very big bang and relaunch ever since then too. Once you get your first customers, getting them to stick is a whole other episode, so if you want me to talk about churn, then let me know. I hope this episode helped with any business owners that are looking to get their first customers, because I know it's not easy, but it is possible, and I am so excited for you to watch your business grow. Don't forget to sign up for my newsletter, which is going to enter your inbox every single Wednesday with industry news, things that you need to know, and more valuable lessons. And I'll see you guys next week with another episode of Just Grow With It. Bye, guys. And if you didn't know, I have a newsletter that goes out every single Wednesday. It's going to be a recap of this episode, but way more than that, because we'll talk about industry news, things that you need to know, other productivity tips. And once we start bringing on guests to this show, we'll also start interviewing them separately for the newsletter. It's completely free, and I think that you guys are going to absolutely love it. It's called The Growth List, so I'll have it linked down below.